We would be honored if you would join us.
All right. Welcome back to the Silvercast. Once again, we have a very, very, very special guest for you guys this time. It is a man who needs no introduction. He's probably the most well-known stacker that we've had so far on the show, and that is Mr. Silver Britches. How are you doing today, sir?
Excellent, buddy. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good myself as well. And Silver Conundrum, how are you doing?
Oh, man, I'm just happy to be here. I mean, geez, I'm here with two of my favorite people. What do you expect?
Yes. All right, so as usual, we're going to do 3 parts for this episode. And the first part, we're just going to be getting to know a little bit more about Silver Britches. And in the second part, we'll be talking about the YouTube game. And then in the third part, we'll see how it's going. We'll have a freestyle topic. And also, please note the disclaimer that Expat Stacker and Silver Conundrum are not financial advisors or experts. Investing is risky and comes with the chance that you could lose money. So talk to a licensed professional before making any decisions about what to do with your money. This video and all of the contents on our channels is for entertainment and educational purposes only and should not be taken as financial advice. Just to get us started off, I would like to know, Silver Britches, what exactly does your name mean and where did you get that from?
All right. So I've been a collector my whole life, and it's mostly just been silver coins, right? So naturally, whenever I wanted to create my channel, I felt the need to put silver in there. But I'm also a huge fan, or just in general, of my home state, Georgia, and my favorite, football team, college, is the University of Georgia.
Mhm.
Well, University of Georgia, they wear, red and black as their primary colors, but they wear silver breeches. So that's where I got my name. I kind of combined the two loves that I have and made it one.
Okay, that makes
That's
sense.
pretty cool.
All right. Awesome. So, by the way, how did your team do this year in terms of the sports?
They did well. They they finally figured it out. See, we kind of got hosed over in preseason, where we had a grad transfer and quarterback, and we kind of geared the offense around that guy, and he ended up opting out not to play because of the cough, and it totally screwed us up, and we really had no backup, since our other backup decided to transfer to Ohio State a couple years ago. So it kind of left us slim pickings on the depth chart until the other guy got healthy enough where he could play. And then we ended up, once he got in there, you could see the talent really take off and start to prosper. So I'm really excited about next year.
Yeah, I mean, there have been a lot of good players who've come out of there. I think, didn't Mecole Hardman come out of there?
Yep. There's more players in the NFL from the state of Georgia than anywhere.
Oh, very interesting. I did not know
That's
that.
very neat.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
They don't necessarily play for Georgia, but they mostly are from Georgia. A lot of them are.
Yeah. The university I went to doesn't have a football team, so we have a kind of a running joke. There's a shirt for sale in the school library. I went to UC San Diego, and it says UC San Diego Tritons football still undefeated. All right, so let's now get into a little bit more about like how and when you started getting into stacking. So I mean, you mentioned that, and I remember hearing this on your channel as well, that you've been a collector, and you've shown like in some of your earlier videos like currency, like cash. I think there's some from Jamaica and like some other places that you've been. And but how did you get into like stacking, precious metals? I understand the background of like the collecting aspect of it. I have that as well. But how about the actual stacking?
Well, the stacking aspect came from, I remember back in 2007, 2008, where you had just a massive amount of people just talking about it, right? I don't know if you guys, remember that. It was big, but it didn't click. But I really started buying a bunch of Silver Eagles back then, but they were, the collector ones, the proof ones. And I just mainly bought the NGC ones because I'm always skeptical, about, fakes and whatnot and being able to trust people. And I thought that was the best way to go about doing it. And turns out it wasn't. And so my son was graduating high school a couple years ago. And so I was torn whether or not I should get him some either silver or gold. And I kind of wanted to get him, something that, he would remember forever. So I ended up getting him a NGC sealed roll of Silver Eagles. And then I got to thinking about it. I was like, man, holy crap, man, this checker's got more ounces of silver than I do. And so then I started researching it, and I was just like, holy crap, man, this just makes a little bit more sense to do it this way. And then it starts, you start brainstorming and you start thinking, well, if I just, put this amount of money away every week, I keep going, I keep stacking, I keep, saving money. And then you end up, rearranging your whole bill cycle. And then next thing you know, you're trying to pay off stuff, trying to get rid of that debt, so that you can get more. And it just cascades and you actually come out ahead just by stacking. It just makes more sense. So me and the old lady, we just streamlined our whole budget. And I'm like, look, this just makes sense. I'm like, we can still do the things that we want to do, but we have zero debt. The only debt we have is our home. And man, that's a good place to be. I can't wait to get rid of that.
It's doable, brother. It really is.
Yep. I really got started, and it just went from there.
That's really cool, man. I think that's really awesome because it kind of started with you, giving, and like something for, I think a lot of people, especially who have children, they do think about, intergenerational wealth and like get those kinds of things. And it kind of started, like I said, there were some seeds there. There's a collecting aspect, and then you wanted to like, there was the thing in 2008 that happened and stuff. So there were some seeds that were planted along the way, but like the stacking part, it really came when you thought about it, like what you were giving the gift to your son. So that's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool way to like get started, like that background story there. So speaking of that, do your kids, are they into stacking?
No, no, no. They haven't put it together yet.
Mm-hmm.
They hear me and they listen to me, and you know how. I mean, well, you'll know one day. Whatever, Dad. That kind of talk. They got to get the latest and greatest shoes or whatever and all that crap. The stuff that we used to do when we were younger.
Yeah.
But they'll get there. The seeds are planted. How about that?
See, that's what matters right there is planting the seeds, man. Because later on in life, it's going to nourish into something massive. And they'll be like, Dad was right. Wait a minute, Dad's right?
Right.
Yeah, Dad's right. Crap! Don't tell him I said that.
That's right. I can't wait to go over to their house when they get older and leave their fridge open and leave all their lights on and doors open and be like, now you know how it feels.
It was best is when they give you grandkids, you can teach the grandkids to do all that stuff back to them.
That's right. But I ain't ready for that. I'm too young for that.
Oh man, you guys are cracking me up. Leave the fridge open, leave all the lights on. That's hilarious, man. No, but yeah. I think, I think you're totally right. We have to come to it ourselves, some of us, you know what I mean? Because that's just the way it is. You know what I mean? Everybody has their own path. But luckily, when they do put it together, they'll definitely know who they can talk to about it and like where they can go. That you are, have a whole bunch of knowledge in this area. So that's great.
Yeah.
So, what is stacking like? You mentioned that the state of Georgia has all the football players in the world come out of there. So, but what about stacking? Like, what's the stacking in your area like? Because I think Cash and Coins is also from Georgia, and maybe there's one other that I'm forgetting, but there are a lot of stackers in Florida. There's a lot in a few other areas where they just seem to be concentrated.
Yeah.
But how's it like in Georgia?
It's always constant here. It's always busy. Every time I go in to my LCS, even when like like the economy was really good, it was always busy. I mean, it's always turned on down here. Always. It's never turned off. So it's easy to find anything you want, really. I know I always hear people say, there's always all these shortages and whatnot. I'm like, I ain't seeing it here. I don't know what it is. I don't know if we're in a bubble. I don't know, but I don't see no shortages here whatsoever. I mean, pretty much the only time I saw it was when my LCS closed down whenever the call first came out. And that was like, maybe a week. And then he was taking appointments after that. So it's always hot here for some reason. I don't know why.
I think in terms of like individual state economies, I think Georgia's doing pretty well. So
Yeah.
seems to be like a growing state. I know that also just from my personal perspective, in the United States, Los Angeles has the highest population of like Koreans, and then Atlanta is number 2. So I mean, there's a lot of like jobs being created in that area. There are a lot of companies that are building headquarters there, including some from Korea. So that's probably happening from other companies and countries around the world as well. So I mean, like when the money is moving and supporting the local economy, and people have the finances to get those financial assets, then the businesses can be supported. So do you mostly then do the business with your local coin shop instead of the online dealers?
Oh, absolutely. Number one, I don't have to wait for shipping. Number two, I go in there. He's always got product. The gold is hit and miss because because you have certain sizes that are hotter than others, or you have things like gold buffaloes. For a while there, he couldn't keep a gold buffalo in there to save his life. And I haven't been by there in a minute, so I don't know what it's like after the whole crap that went down last weekend. But I know he's usually got a good selection of stuff. I mean, I just don't see the issues that a lot of people see. But like I said, this could be a bubble. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that when it comes to local coin shops, it probably definitely is hit or miss. And I do think like the surrounding economy has a lot to do with it. I mean, I'm just speculating, but just based off of like all the stories that I hear and stuff like that, like, I mean, not to pick on any one individual state or anything like that, but like, we kind of all know that like Michigan is a good example of, a part of the United States which is kind of deindustrialized, right? Like a lot of the jobs almost all the jobs there, you know, that supported the local economy a long time ago, they're gone. So, you know, I mean, people aren't going to be having the extra money to be like stacking and stuff like that. And so that would make it more difficult for a local coin shop to, you know, have a whole bunch of stuff and selection. But I mean, Silver Conundrum, how does that sound compared to your local coin shop? Does that sound pretty much about the same, or?
Pretty much the exact same thing, man. So, like I told you before, it's like we never run out of silver here. There are so many people in our store. They only allow 3 people in at a time because of the whole coughing incident. So, what they do is they actually have a line of about 10 or 15 people at any given time outside their store. And it's hard to get in there on certain days because of our rules that we have. But I've never seen them run out of silver. Even when people was like, oh, there's a shortage. Nah, nothing. Like I always told people, and I've told you the same thing. Hey, if you guys need silver, let me know. I'll get it and mail it to you. It's way cheaper than going through the online dealers and eBay because you don't got to pay all the tax. You don't got to pay up for all the extra nonsense and the minimum purchases. I'm in the same boat as he is, man. We have really good quantities of silver. Gold, like he said, man, they can't keep that in stock. Like as soon as it comes in the door, they have a hot list they call. Hey, we got this in. Within 5 or 10 minutes, somebody's there buying it. Like I really watched a guy come in there with a what you call it the sniper rifle. This guy came in with a grenade. I mean, it was an entire tube of gold eagles. Set them on the counter. She picked up the phone, called somebody, and they came in. They were there within 30 minutes and bought the entire tube. I'm like, holy cow. Like, they can't keep gold for nothing.
Yeah. I had to get on the waiting list for gold.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the thing about gold is it's already expensive. So you kind of want to buy what you want. You don't want to miss on that. You know what I mean? You don't want to buy like the Homer Simpson or something like that in gold and just totally screw up because there's not a big market for that in gold. You know what I mean? So if I want something, I'm probably going to get the Gold Buffalo or American Gold Eagles. And if they don't have them in stock, then I ask them to put me on the list. And whenever one comes in, hit me up, and they do.
That's right. That's what they do here too. There's anything you want. I don't care what it is. If they have a way to get a hold of it, they'll put you on a list. Now you have a time frame. Once that time frame is met and you ain't there, they're going to the next person.
Yep.
So it sounds like we're both in the same boat.
Oh yeah. Well, you also got to think the tax benefits here. In my state, there's 0 tax on bullion. You can buy as much as you want. There's no tax, none. I don't know about the selling aspect of it because I'm not really in that game yet. But as far as buying, you can buy as much as you want online, offline, and there's 0 tax. And that is extremely beneficial because I know some states, you got to pay tax. And to me, that's unconstitutional because in the Constitution, it states that our currency should be made out of silver and gold. And so essentially you're taxing money. So it's kind of like a double standard, you know what I mean? And I don't really agree with that whatsoever.
Oh, I agree with you, man, because we actually pay tax on silver here. But there's a loophole. Yeah, there's a loophole here though. If you, depending on how much you buy or what you buy, if they write it out as a cash type deal, you don't pay tax. If you write it out as like a debit or a check or a credit card or anything, you're paying tax. But as long as you're paying cash, I don't know how they do it, but there's a loophole. They said that you're trading fiat for physical. But
there ain't no loophole.
Yep. But when you buy offline, they don't care what you do. eBay and AppMex and all those stores, trust me, you paying taxes unless you buy like I think it's $1,600 worth at a time or something like that. Can't remember the exact amount, but that's the only way you're going to get away from paying taxes if you do that.
Yeah, I pay none, 0.
I'm envious, by the way. I'm just saying.
But Yeah, it's a
And
similar situation in California. They
like it's
have
1,500 there.
yeah, I think it's 1,500, and the reason is because if you spend below that, then it's considered like some sort of purchase. But if you spend above that, then it's legally considered an exchange of money. So like
Yeah.
just two different forms of money. So but I just recently got a friend of mine into stacking, and he's in California, and he asked me about that, and I explained it to him, and he's like, "That's dumb." He has money, so he's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna wait and buy things at $1,500 chunks at a time." But like, what about people who don't? It's almost
Right.
like a barrier that they throw up. So that's pretty cool that they don't do that in Georgia.
He, how close is he to Nevada?
Actually, not that far away. He's in Northern
He might want to
California.
look into that. He might want to look into going to Las Vegas because there's plenty of LCSs in Las Vegas, and I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think they charge tax. I could be wrong, but he might want to go that route. Just drive a couple hours. Go to Vegas, pick you some up.
Yeah, yeah. I will definitely look into that myself and tell him to look into it too. It'd probably be closer for him to go to Reno than Vegas,
Okay.
but if it's a state law, then that would be the same thing. So, but yeah, thanks for the tip.
Oh yeah.
As I mean, that's one of the benefits of the Silvercast, ladies and gentlemen. And so let me ask you this. By the way, before we change the topic, I did want to say that I saw the January numbers for 2021 from the U.S. Mint. Their bullion was at the highest ever. They sold the most ever since they started making the modern bullion gold coins in 1986. They sold 282,000 ounces worth of gold coins. So you guys what you're saying matches up with the facts from the U.S. Mint. They are selling gold by the ton. So
Yeah.
Literally.
yeah, literally. I mean,
That's a lot.
it is
That
a
is
lot.
a lot.
I think the previous record was last year, and it was like 220,000. So it is really hot right now. So red hot. All right. What is your kind of overall stacking goal? And like what's your strategy to get there? Like just philosophy, not like, oh, I gotta get this X amount of ounces or whatever. Just kind of rules of thumb that you follow when it comes to stacking.
I like to stack the premiums, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
The if I feel that silver, is undervalued, I'll buy it, right? Because typically whenever it's undervalued, you'll have your lowest premiums as far as that goes. As of right now, the past 2 years, well, 2020 and this year, man, the premiums are outrageous. And it's a turnoff in my eyes. You're kind of taken away from what you're trying to accomplish, and that is actually just save money. And if you're having to pay excess premiums, it's kind of taken away from that. So right now, gold is the cheaper premium. So that's where I've been focusing since last year. And I don't know, buying gold near all-time highs, it doesn't really bother me because it's not like I'm super old, but it's the ultimate store of value. Plus, it's you're getting in it, at a 3 to 5% premium if you buy that 1 ounce. Whereas if you buy a Silver Eagle right now, what's the premium at now? It's like 50%. And that just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. That's essentially a tax, another tax that you have to pay. And that's why it's a turnoff for me right now as far as buying silver.
Hmm.
So I try to, since I have a decent stack now, that's the way that I like to look at it. As far as, you know, I know a lot of people that like to buy, you know, according to the GSR, and I'm not one of those type of guys. You know, I was trying to keep a 50-50 ratio, but if you're paying extra for something that you shouldn't be paying extra for, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So I just been, you know, buying gold mostly.
Mhm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, even if you're somebody who's new to stacking, I think you can kind of apply that, you know, outlook, because eventually the demand for gold and silver, I mean, presumably, you know, they fluctuate, right? And like right now,
Right.
silver's the hotness, right? So that's why you got these 50% premiums. So if you, even if you don't have any gold or silver right now, but you're looking to get into it, and you want to, you know, take this kind of philosophy of sort of playing the premiums instead of necessarily like the GSR or some other thing, you could say, well, right, the premiums right now on silver is just super high, so we'll go ahead and go with
Right.
the premiums, the lower premium on the gold right now. And I mean, sometimes that's reflected in the GSR as well. So
Yeah.
you know, there are different ways of being able to look at it, but that makes a lot of sense, you know. And then if you buy when the premiums are, you know, a bit lower, and then if it comes time to sell and you sell at a time when they're higher, you're gonna get those higher premiums when you sell, and you bought
Right.
it when they were lower. So it's like almost like a little bit of a leverage effect there, you know.
That's
So
right. That's right. So you know, just looking at this timestamp right here, as you know, we're at right this second,
mhm,
you should know everything you need to know once the economy recovers what you should be buying. This should tell you exactly the information that you need to know. So whenever this happens, and everything happens in cycles, right? It all comes back, goes up, it goes down. So whenever you know, the economy, everybody's economies recover eventually, and you know they will. You know exactly what you should be buying because you can look at the premiums and what they're charging, and that should tell you everything you need to know.
yeah,
I could
yeah,
agree with that.
yeah,
So if you know the economies recover, you know, like they know, like they should, you know, probably next year everybody should be pretty in decent shape by then. You know that if Silver Eagles drop down to that $2 to $3 premium like they were in the, you know, the good years, then
hmm
you should be loading up on those because the premium on them now is what, 10-12 bucks.
hmm
$10 easily.
So you know exactly what you should be buying. You should be buying Maples, Eagles, RCM bars, Britannia bars, things like that. Things that people are craving.
yeah, yeah, definitely. I think that sounds really good. What do you think, SC?
Oh man, I have to agree with him wholeheartedly. I mean,
Yeah,
everything he said is pretty much spot on.
Yeah, because see,
yeah,
even if you like wanting to liquidate right now, right? You're still only going to get that dollar, $2 max, you know, on junk silver, right?
Right.
Or you may even get spot. And silver is in extremely high demand right now, right? Whereas you know your Eagles, you know, you're getting 10-12 bucks over spot. So it kind of makes sense. You know what I mean? Unless you're just getting a jam up below spot deal, you know, previously, then yeah, it all hashes out in the end. But you know, whenever the economy recovers, definitely load up on your premium stuff.
Well, that's absolutely right, though. And the reason why I say that is, yeah, look at everybody's financial situations right now. This month, right now, somebody could have $1,000 extra money sitting around their bank. Like, hey, I need to do something with this. Downside is, a year from now, when things are good, they'll need $1,000 to cover whatever comes up in their life. So some of those people are actually in a catch-22. Do you do it now? Do you wait till later, or you just buy as little as possible as you can, so this way you can make ends meet? That's the one thing
Right.
about the economy that's really kicking people's butts right now. Everybody, one day they're doing great, the next day they're down in the dumps. And silver's following that, exactly what you said. It's following that same cycle. It went down, went up, went down, went up, and everybody's like, okay, what do I do? How do I do it? And they start getting FOMO. For those of you who don't know what that is, fear of missing out. And that's one of the biggest driving factors lately, in my opinion, because we're seeing so many new people come into the market, and it's like, really, don't do that. You're messing up. Please don't do that. Just wait a couple seconds, breathe, and then look and see what's available to you. You don't get to snatch it up just because it's there. Look around first.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they kind of like don't do themselves any favors, when they have that sort of artificial urgency. So, but I mean, that's where I think the YouTube kind of thing comes into play, because I've heard so many people say, oh, I was like thinking about my finances, and again, to bring up a feller, Georgia compatriot of yours, Cashing Coins. I was listening to his video the other day, and he was saying that how he got into to stacking, and he said that he was like thinking about investing, and then he was on YouTube and he came across like stacking videos and stuff, and he started learning about like all this whole world about like India and the gold markets there and everything like that, so like I think that people can learn a lot actually by YouTube, and just by looking around and trying to learn, because you mentioned the silver britches like back in 2008 is kind of like when it sort of started to click for you, and I think that also was a big point in history where a lot of people got into it, right? The shock of like the financial crash made people start to reconsider the financial system and think about what's really going on and how they can have more safety and stability for their families. And more recently, we all know what's been going on over the past few years, and even before that, right? I mean, there was a lot of political instability and I mean, between different countries and stuff like that, right? So, and uncertainties. So I think that like the personal finance aspect of it, and people on YouTube, even though we're all basically anonymous, with a few exceptions, but it really helps, like person to person, to just talk about it, and it's fun, it's entertaining, it's educational, and you learn stuff. It's almost like a hobby and stuff like that, right? So the YouTube aspect of it like really does help a lot of people, I think. So I'm kind of curious about like what made you decide to become a YouTube content creator. Like what was the deciding factor in that?
Well, it's mainly because I was excited about it, and I couldn't really talk about it with normal friends or whatnot. So I mean, it's kind of like one of those type of deals. I mean, that's really the main reason why I started it. It was pretty much to catalog my journey and talk about it, because I don't want to get jacked. You know what I mean? So I don't want to tell a whole bunch of people that I have this or that. You know what I mean? So nobody in my personal life even knows what I have, and that's the way I like to keep it. So I talk about it, through YouTube, and yeah, I've met a lot of good people, and there's some people out there that just love to hate. So whenever your channels get bigger, just keep that in mind. Just keep scrolling on. But for the most part, it's pretty much fun. Being able to talk to people and hearing their stories and hearing their wisdom through the comment section, because I'm always active in the comment section. Whenever I do videos, and I try to interact as much as I can. And I know I get emails all the time from people and telling me that they, that I've helped them in some other way or whatnot. And that's what, really, that really hits home, really.
Yeah.
That's when you know you're on the right track.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think I remember you had a segment going for a while, like the troll of the week or something like that. That was pretty funny. I was laughing about that.
Yeah, and whenever I started doing that, they went away for a while, but they always come back. And that's
Yeah.
fine. I just find it funny. I like to antagonize them just as much as they antagonize me.
I was about to say, man, the best part of trolls is to troll them back.
That's right. And they get so upset whenever you come back, and it's just so funny because it could just keep on going. And the next thing you know, some subscribers of mine, or they'll start jumping on the trolls. So it's pretty funny. The comment section can get wild sometimes. And I've even had some big names come on there in one of my videos, and I guess I got them a little butthurt whenever, and I didn't even mention their names, and I could tell they were butthurt because you never see those names comment on videos, and they commented on that video, and I was just like, okay, so you're just here to throw your weight around. So
here's something on that what you just said. My daddy used to have a saying before he passed away. He goes, "Boy, you can throw a rock in a pile of dogs. The one that yelps is the one you hit."
Yep.
So
that's right. And
whoever you were talking about knew you were talking about them without even having to say it.
That's right.
That's just a guilty conscience.
It was my Silver Pumper video where I was talking about, guys who are just constantly, that's all they do is just pump it up, right? They tell you it's the greatest thing ever. And I had David Morgan come on my video and comment. I had James Anderson from SD Bullion come on my video and comment. So I could tell that they were butthurt about it.
That's right. But again, throw the rock, hit the dog, hear the yelp.
Right. And I was like, what are those guys even doing listening to me anyway? But I mean, it's all good.
It's good.
But I could tell that I got my point across. And that's what I was trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's what matters, man. That's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah, that is funny. That is funny. I mean, one thing I gotta say about your channel and about you is, for a larger channel, you keep it real, man. Like you've said in the past in some of your videos, like, hey, I said this and it didn't work out that way or whatever. Like, you're not afraid to admit you're wrong. You're not afraid to like just tell it like it is, and like I think people really like that. They really appreciate that, I mean, I know that for a fact, and I'm one of them. So that's part of the reason why we wanted to get you on here is to talk about that. So we always appreciate you keeping it real. And the YouTube game is like totally a very interesting thing, and that's definitely going to be the main topic of the next part of this episode. But I think this has been a really great, very interesting discussion for the first part, and it'd be a great place to put a pin in it and come back to it next week. Is there anything that you wanted to say before we tie up this first part of this episode, Silver Britches?
Yeah, the main thing is if you're brand new, right, and say you got a considerable amount of money that you want to throw in it, sleep on it a couple of days. Really think about it. Don't just do it because someone's telling you it's the greatest thing that it's going to $1,000. Okay, think about it. I mean, you have time. That's the main thing, is you got time.
Very, very solid.
Amen to that.
Very solid. Very solid. Yeah, and Silver Conundrum, anything you want to say?
No, brother. The man said it all right there. That's all that needs to be said.
I agree. And with that, everybody, we want to thank you for tuning in, and we will catch you all in the next one. See you later.
Later, everyone.